Hello everyone, I'm Mekala. I'm working as an assistant professor in the Department of Computer Applications, JJ College of Arts and Science, Pudukkottai. In this session, we will talk about DBMS keys and DBMS ER model, that is Entity Relationship Model in DBMS. First one is keys. What are DBMS keys? A DBMS keys is an important role in the RDBMS, which means Relational Database Management System. A DBMS keys is an attribute of a set of attributes which help you uniquely identify a record or a row of data in a relation. So, for identifying any row of data in a table uniquely. Let us take an example. In the student table, ID is used as a key because it is unique for each student. In person table, passport number and license numbers are keys since they are unique for each person. So this is the example. In student table, ID is unique. In person table, passport number and license numbers are unique since they are unique for everyone. Next, types of keys. There are many kinds of keys in DBMS. In this session, we are going to talk about primary key, candidate key, super key and foreign key. First one is primary key. It is the first key which is used to identify one and only one instance of an entity uniquely. An entity can contain multiple keys as we saw in person table. In the employee table, we can even select license number and passport number as primary key since they are also unique. In this table, in the employee table, ID can be primary keys. It is unique for each employee. It is also used to establish and identify relationship between the tables. Next, candidate key. A candidate key is an attribute or set of an attribute which can uniquely identify a tuple. The remaining attributes except for primary keys are considered as a candidate key. The candidate key are as strong as the primary key. For example, in the employee table, ID is best suited for the primary key. Rest of the attributes are the candidate key. Look at this table. Next one is super key. Super key is a superset of a candidate key. Hence this combination also be a key. The super key would be employee ID and employee name. The name of two employees can be the same, but their employee ID cannot be the same. Next one is foreign key. Foreign keys are the column of the table which is used to point to the primary key of another table. In a company, every employee works in a specific department and employee and department are two different entities. So we can't store the information of the department in the employee table. Now in the employee table, department ID is the foreign key and both the tables are related. This is the example table. We add the primary key of the department table, department ID, as a new attribute in the employee table. That's why we link these two tables through the primary key of one table. Next one is ER model in DBMS. ER model stands for an entity relationship model. It is a high-level data model. This model is used to define the data elements and relationship for a specified system. For example, suppose we design a school database. In this database, the student will be an entity with attribute like address, name, ID, age, etc. The address can be another entity with attributes like city, street name, pin code, etc. And there will be a relationship between them. So entity relationship model define the conceptual view of a database. ER model concept. ER model contains entity, attributes and relation. In entity, we have to discuss about weak entity. In attributes, key attribute, composite attribute, multi-valued attribute and derived attribute. In relation, one to one, one to many to one and many to many. First we have to understand what is entity. An entity can be real world object, either animate or inanimate, that can be easily identifiable, which means entity is nothing but it is an object. All these entities have some attributes or properties that give them their identity. An entity depends on another entity called a weak entity. The weak entity doesn't contain any key attribute of its own. This is the example, which means all these entities have some attributes or properties that give them their identity. And next one is attributes. Entities are represented by means of their properties called attributes. All attributes have values. For example, student entity may have name, class and age as attributes. For example, a student's name cannot be a numeric value. It has to be alphabets, A, B, C, D, etc. At the same time, the student's age cannot be negative. So, there exists a domain or range of values that can be assigned to attributes. There are three types of attributes: composite attributes, derived attributes and multi-valued attributes. First one is composite attribute. Composite attributes are made of more than one simple attributes. Every node is then connected to its attribute and it also divided in a tree-like structure. For example, a student's complete name may have first name and last name. There is a composite attributes are represented by ellipses that are connected with an ellipse. In this diagram, the ellipse are composite attributes. The ellipse designs are composite attributes. Next one is derived attribute. Derived attributes are the attributes that does not exist in physical databases, but their values are derived from other attributes present in the database. For example, age can be derived from date of birth. So, it can be depicted by dashed ellipse. So, in this derived attributes, the age can be derived from the birth date of birth. Next one is multi-valued attributes. Multi-valued attributes may contain more than one values. For example, a person can have more than one phone number, email address, etc. In multi-valued attributes, they are depicted by double ellipses. In this diagram, phone number is a multi-valued attribute. It can have more than one phone number, email address, etc. And then next one is relationship. The association among entities is called a relationship. For example, an employee works at a department, a student enrolls in a course. Here, works at and enrolls are called relationships. There are 4 relationships in this DBMS. First one is 1 to 1. When only one instance of an entity is associated with the relationship, it is marked as 1:1. The following image reflects that more than one instance of an entity on the left and only one instance of the right. It can be associated with the relationship. Next one is 1 to many. When more than one instance of an entity is associated with the relationship, it is marked as 1:n. The following image reflects that only one instance of entity on the left and more than one instance of an entity on the right. It can be associated with the relationship among the entity. It depicts 1 to many relationship, that is 1:n. And then next one is many to one. When more than one instance of an entity is associated with the relationship, It is marked as n is to 1. The following image reflects that more than one instance of an entity on the left and only one instance of entity on the right. It can be associated with the relationship, and it depicts many to one relationship, that is n is to 1. And then last one is many to many. It is n is to n relationship. The following image reflects that more than one instance of an entity on the left and more than one instance of an entity on the right. It can be associated with the relationship, that is n is to n relationship. So these are the keys in DBMS and ER model in DBMS. These two sessions are very important role in the DBMS. Okay, thank you for listening this.